Rather, raw consciousness requires only knowledge of oneself and the power to access it. Remember this as we unlock an even greater gnosis from beyond the veil.
From the Pacific Northwest, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm Chris Gio. I will be taking you beyond the veil this evening. I'm joined this time by my lovely wife and co-pilot, Mrs. Gio.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be back.
Yes, definitely. Good to have you back. How are you feeling, Mrs. Gio?
Much better, much better. I just need a little bit of a break, and now I'm raring to go. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of a break, too. The personal trainer beat the shit out of me today.
Yeah, she did.
And I can't find my blankie. So it's one of those days.
And your shoes fell off.
And my shoes fell off, and I broke my glasses. No, but oh my gosh. It's my fault. So I'm like, I want to impress her, you know, because she's like the world-class freaking champion.
Yeah.
So she's like, all right, do 12. And I'm like, I'm going to do 15.
You've got to at least try to impress her a little bit.
And she's like, here, do 100 pounds. And I'm like, I'm going to do 120. And then it's funny because we'll do like, you know, sets of like 20. And then I'll do 25. And I'm like, hi, there's an extra 5 just to spite you. But I'm paying for it, though.
Yeah, so, you are.
Yeah.
You've got to listen to her. She knows what you need. So you got to listen to her. When she says you can do 15 or 10, then do 15 or 10.
True.
You know, don't try to overdo it.
Yeah, yeah. And I burned myself out in the beginning. And then by the end of it, I'm like, So, and she lies to me too. I'm like, did we finish everything on your regiment? And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'll look at her list and she still has like 3 more things. And I'm like, all right, come on, let's just do those 3 things. Come on, let's go.
Let's finish this.
Yeah. Anyways. So we're going to hang out today and talk about ayahuasca, talk about tarot cards. Natalie is joining us. She's the lead moderator over at the Beyond the Veil group on Facebook. The top moderator. That's what I called her, the top moderator.
Well, she really
is.
Sounds
pretty kinky, huh?
Yeah, very dominant.
Yes.
She's the dominatrix of the esoteric group. She really is, though.
She will whip you into shape, for sure.
But she's hilarious. Mm-hmm. She is so funny, and she keeps everything so light in the group that, you know, I'm so glad we have her as the lead moderator.
Yeah.
There.
Yep.
Yeah.
Becky said Chris is going balls to the wall. You know what's funny is we do these things, you know, those exercise balls, the big exercise balls. They're called ball squats, where you put them up against the wall. And she's doing that to train me to do the squats with my back facing up. And the first time I said ball squats to Cherie, she's like, what the hell is that?
That sounds dirty.
What kind of gym is this that you're going to?
What kind of sorcery is this?
So people have been asking that we watch the OA. And I just can't sit in front of the TV for longer than 15 minutes. Like I have this like chip in my brain or something that just like it turns on when I'm 15 minutes into a show, and that's it. It's nap time for me. I picked it up from my father. My father was like that. We couldn't say he actually watched America from Freedom to Fascism all the way through, though. He was like intrigued by that movie. That's the one by Aaron Russo about the income tax. And he was a CPA. And I asked him, are you going to, I said, have you ever seen the law? And he's like, you know, now that I think about it, no, never. I'm like, you're going to continue doing people's taxes? And he's like, hell yeah, I am. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's how it goes, huh?
Well, honestly, I mean, he probably started watching it, you know, just out of spite. Like, I'm going to find something wrong with this so I can really let Chris have it.
Oh,
and then
that's a good point.
He hung on and hung on and hung on. And then eventually just got into it. That's
a really good point. I never thought about it from that perspective.
I love the OA, you guys. Thank you so much for wising us up to the existence of this amazing show. I stayed up all night last night watching it. I got a few hours of sleep, and then I started watching season 2. So I watched season 1 all the way through yesterday and last night, and then I started season 2 today, and I'm only on episode like 4, so don't ruin it for me, you guys. But oh my god, season 1 was incredible.
You know, you started drawing something for me earlier, and I realized what you were drawing. Like, you didn't have the outer pieces of it.
Yeah.
But when you started drawing it, I was like, oh, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
And it kind of hit in a way to where it was like, okay, now we're getting into some deeper levels of consciousness. and basically a map of the matrix and a cartography of the matrix.
Yep.
One of the key things is that the dimensions are not necessarily up and down. So, it's funny because in the pyramid, when I went to the admin section, I didn't go through the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, et cetera, et cetera. It was, as I described it right afterwards, it was like going through hallways. I went through one hallway after another, and these doors were opening because I was resonating at a particular frequency. So when I go to these different dimensions, when I've gone to the ninth before, there wasn't a progression going through the fifth, through the sixth, through the seventh density, etc. It's going into like another room. So I've always seen, the matrix and consciousness as a flat space. I thought up to this point that it was like one ring and then another ring and then another ring and then another ring. But when you drew it out the way that you drew it earlier, I realized that these dimensions are actually like inside of a structure. So it's like a house or a building, and you have different rooms. And you don't have to go from the first to the second to the third to the fourth to the fifth, even though they do connect like that. But they're more like we're at the center point of everything. And here's the fifth dimension here. Here's the sixth dimension, the seventh dimension, eighth dimension, et cetera, going in a circle like this. So you can jump from this center point here where the game is being played into any of these dimensions.
Right. And
I realized that's why it's been so easy to jump. And then I realized exactly what this was that we were looking at when you started drawing it out. And I don't know how deeply I want to get into this because, it's some really deep levels of gnosis that is meant for only a few people.
Right. And
it's not meant for everyone. Now, the people that watch BTV, obviously it's meant for them. The conundrum and the issue that I run into is that how do we put this information out and get this information out to the right people while also avoiding the wrong people from getting this information?
Right.
Let them believe that the structure is structured the way that they believe it is. Let them try to do whatever they want, move for Earth into 5D and so on and so forth. Realistically, it doesn't really matter. As long as we can get out of here before any of that happens, the whole system, in my opinion, is going to be rebooted. So, let them play in the machine as long as they want until their heart's content, as long as they're not blocking the pathway for us to get out. I feel like right now, consciousness is being damaged by being in the machine. So there's definitely a countdown to try to get out of the machine. I mean, this is, like I said, a discussion maybe for another day, but what do you think, Sherry?
I think it is a discussion for another day. And the only reason I say that is because, number one, I haven't finished watching the OA all the way through, and so it's hard to completely gauge everything and break everything down for you guys until I'm done. And number two, there's a character in OA that his name is Hap, and and it's named for his initials. He's supposedly an anesthesiologist who is doing a study on near-death experiences, and he has people trapped in his basement that he has been basically killing and then reviving over and over and over again, and then recording through soundscapes and different ways their near-death experiences. And while they're learning how to get out by crossing between dimensions, he's actually listening to them and copying them. Everything they do, he writes down, and he's taking notes on what exactly they're doing to get out. And he's going to profit off this. That's his whole deal, is he wants to have all this research for himself, for his own selfish advantage. And that reminds me so much of the Archons and the way they've been hijacking people's consciousness whenever they have these experiences with especially DMT and ayahuasca, and people that are unaware that Archons are bad guys anyway.
They're breaking the barriers and breaking the firewalls, because there's only one type of consciousness that can move into all dimensions, and that's the organic consciousness.
Right.
They know this, and so they've been trying to jump onto these experiences so they can access levels that they're not supposed to. But that's what a virus does. As I've said before, this only further confirms that I think we're really onto something in this perspective. But when it comes to the near-death experience, people ask me, how do you access these other states? And It's really through DMT. I mean, DMT is the closest to a near-death experience that you can have, short of provoking something to cause a physical near-death experience. I mean, we found a cheat mechanism with DMT, but that's why I think in the pyramid, my body stopped. And my heart stopped several times because it was the only way to be able to push that far into these other realms, and needed a mass dose of DMT plus the heart stopping and then the tether being held to bring it back to the body, which is, I think, why the message has been get your body in order, get your body in order, get your body in order for this next site. It's not necessarily that the body is going to physically go anywhere, but I think the body's going to physically stop. And it's like, if it's not in shape, if it's not ready for that intensity of the heart going so fast and then stopping, I'm not going to be able to come back.
Right.
And I have to come back for one reason or another. I don't know why, but I'll figure it out when I get there.
Well, same with me with the mentee. I really believe that I died for at least a minute, 2 minutes there.
You did.
And you were there. You experienced it. It's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. But at the same time, I felt like it took that to get to that place.
Right. Right.
So
it takes the heart stopping.
Right.
The Matrix is the play area is a circle like this. We're right in the middle where the game is being played. The different dimensions are here. However, there are other sections that are still within the Matrix itself, like out here. I don't know exactly where they are in relation to this, but I know like a mentee would be here, outside of the main area, outside of the 12 dimensions. The admin section would be here too, and outside of the main
like
play
back
area.
Rooms.
Yeah, but the only way out is in. We're already at the center of it. Moving further into different densities is only going further into the machine. You have to go into the heart and out if you want to get out. That's the only way to get out.
And that's funny. They even say that in the OA. They say, we've been thinking about this all wrong. We don't go out. We go in.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And JC Cat said, OA reminded me a lot of a YouTuber who did DMT movements. Very similar. So what's interesting? Chris and I both have had experiences. And I don't want to speak for you, Chris, but you had this experience where you were moving stuff with your...
In order to break through into a different realm, I had to do certain movements. Remember that? This happened on 2 different occasions.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what I was doing because she thought I was having a seizure. I've talked about this before.
Something was wrong with him.
What I was doing in the realm was clearing out the geometric patterns that I was in to move beyond into that next place where the mantis people were that had the universe and all that. I talked about it on the last show. But there was a physical movement that it took in order to clear the space out. So I wonder if that's those movements that people are referring to is the same thing, clearing this space out in order to get to the next space.
Well, and with me, every single time I've smoked DMT, aside from the first time, which wasn't really even a breakthrough experience, every time I've had a breakthrough experience, I have to go through these weird idiosyncratic movements of my arms and my hands with my face and my head and my body just wrapping a certain way. It's hard to explain. But it did remind me very much of that whenever I was watching the show, because it's almost like a reflex. In order to break through, I have to do these movements and then I can go through the mandala. But before that, if I don't do that, if I just stay really still, it just doesn't work.
Well, I know for sure, and Natalie's been holding, so Natalie,
yeah,
we're going to bring you on
get
here in
to
just
her.
a moment.
Yeah,
I know for sure that as soon as I got into the sarcophagus, I instinctively knew this was the position here. There's something about this particular. I don't know if it's protecting the heart, or if it's I don't know. However, I started moving a lot. I don't know what movements I was making, but I know that I was banging myself up in the sarcophagus the higher I was getting. And I was banging you up too and all of that. So I wonder if you looking in on the experience And because I don't remember what movements I was making. I just remember my knees, and I remember shaking so hard, thinking my tether's going to break if I don't get this under control. I'm passing. I'm like in the red, like my body was in the red. But I wonder if there were any movements that you recall.
It looked a lot like in the OA when the guy comes back from having a forced near-death experience he was basically drowned and then brought back to life, and he brings him back, he throws him on the bed and leaves him there, and then within the next few hours he's like moving his arms like this, and
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember doing something similar to that.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
a lot of it was it appeared to be seizure activity, but combined with these purposeful movements of the hands especially and the arms. So there is definitely something there, and we're just blown away by this. I was having a conversation with somebody, I think it was a caller, and they were talking about how concerts and raves and things like that, they create these vortexes of energy by getting people all in the same state, doing the same motion. At rock concerts, you have the pit where people are running around in a circle, creating a vortex. I never made that connection. And then there was a meme, maybe I can find it during the break, but it says, "This looks like the dopest concert in the world until you realize it's cotton being harvested." I don't know if you've seen that picture, but it's got the machine back there, and you've got all these little cotton balls, and it's just kind of shadows at first until your eyes really adjust on what you're looking at, and it looks like a big concert with a bunch of people sitting there, and it's cotton being harvested. And when I saw that picture, I was like, oh, wow. I bet they're harvesting energy at these large events. So that was something else that we talked about with that particular caller. But anyways, I don't want to keep Natalie holding any longer because she's been waiting patiently for us. So we're going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be right back with Natalie right here on Beyond the Veil. All right, let me jump in for a second. Mrs. Geo went downstairs real quick. So before we run the intro, there's some really awesome chatter in the chat room. If you die, maybe you flash into an alternate version of you. And, this is where Cherie and I kind of differ in opinion here. She feels that there's this matrix is kind of laid out in a multi-dimensional not multi-dimensional, but multi-reality and multi-timeline type of system, to where we do have other parts of ourselves that are running around. But the thing is, though, if that is true, let's say there's 1 million, and there's probably way more than 1 million timelines according to the typical belief. But let's say there's 1 million. That gives us 1 in a million chance that we're real. That gives us 1 in a million chance that we're organic. 1 in a million chance that we can actually escape the game and beat the game. Escaping's not a good word, because escaping, it's like a trap. We're not trapped. We need to beat the game and get out of here because the game is messed up right now. However, what Cherie and I were actually just talking about this at lunch, and she said, look, maybe it's that we are all avatars, and within these other timelines, we exist as avatars. So the Chris Geo that's running around in the other timeline isn't the organic consciousness player. Rather, it's just an NPC. And
we can switch from one timeline to another by taking the organic consciousness from one body to another. Or one timeline to another, which I thought, that's might be what happens at this next site. If there's time travel involved, it will be a transfer of consciousness and appearing within the body that we existed in back then, wherever we need to go to provoke whatever change and then come back. That's a possibility. So I can go along with that. I feel that fractured consciousness, though, it's something to make the game seem completely and totally impossible, because if there are millions and billions and trillions of timelines, well, then what are the chances that we're the real consciousness running around? And what are the chances that we have been fractalized into millions and billions of pieces? It seems like a hopelessness, like instills hopelessness when you truly understand the game. But that was a really good question. And the other question here, Mrs. Gio just walked in. Have you heard of a ceremony involving stacking ohms, chants, in symmetrical vibration chambers? The King's Chamber was designed like that. And the first thing that we did when we got there was Om within the King's Chamber. And I noticed, because I hadn't heard about this idea before, it just came pure on instinct, the ohms stack on top of one another. So by the time you run out of breath, it's still vibrating in the top of the room, and you start stacking them on top of one another. So yes, I think the King's Chamber was built like that. There's so many questions in the chat. So you guys and gals are freaking awesome. So let's get back into it, and we'll be right back with Natalie.
As a traveler, the purpose of your consciousness is never to destroy. It is always to create. Build bridges. Create happiness. And bring forth new life. We must live in the hope that mankind will draw together, and that we better understand each other. The more that we awaken, the easier this will become. Now eyes are your conductors, and fear no danger as you step beyond the veil.
All right, we may take some calls a little bit later, people asking if phone lines are open. So possibly, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. This just opens up so many different thoughts and ideas about consciousness. There is a philosophy, and I don't subscribe to it, but that this philosophy is that there's only one organic consciousness, and everything else is part of the simulation. And when you think about what I was talking about during the break, the multiple different timelines, what if that's the case too? What if for every organic consciousness, there's a timeline and a time space and a play area? And so, what if I'm the non-player character in this particular timeline, and then my organic consciousness is in another timeline where everybody else is the NPC and I'm the organic consciousness? I don't know though. We wouldn't be able to find each other if that's the case. And we're finding other organic consciousness within the same play area. So I don't think that's the case. But anyways, that's a conversation for another time.
Yes, definitely.
Now let's go to
get Natalie.
Something that is still Matrix related, tarot and astrology. Divination, in my humble opinion, only works because we are inside of a computer simulation. I don't think it would work in the real world. But because of that, you can tap into the frequency and the code of the matrix itself through different divination tools. And we went over a CIA document that was describing how a magician uses his magic wand or her magic wand. But there's nothing magical about the wand itself. The wand itself is merely a representation to to focus the energy through. I mean, it could be anything. This could be my magic wand here. It doesn't matter. It's the energy that's passing through it. Likewise, I think the same goes with the divination tools. And I think the reason why the tarot is so accurate is, especially when you have somebody that's really in tune that's doing it, because the cards become just a physical representation of the energies that are being channeled and the energies that are being harnessed at that particular point, which brings out the different outcomes. What do you think?
I think that everything is code, and if you know the right codes, then you can manifest so much in your life, and that includes knowledge. Even having a broad knowledge of things like astrology, or tapping into the intuition that's used in tarot, that's using codes to cheat the system in a sense, because you're not supposed to really know that you're about to lose your job, or something, you're about to get in a car accident, or something like that, and yet things like tarot and astrology can absolutely tell you that those things are about to happen.
Right.
And
especially astrology. I mean, we're bound to the stars, but we can break that. We can break those chains by understanding the stars.
Right.
So Natalie has been into tarot for many, many, many years, and she's just an awesome soul all the way around. She's also written some children's books, which I think takes a special type of energy to do that, to connect with the younger minds on that level. And I've thought about writing a couple of children's books, like about a bear and a chipmunk and their little adventures and stuff like that. And how they're always, at each other's throats.
They are.
Stuff like that. But I mean, I think you can take real life experiences and turn them into entertaining books like that, and at the same time teach children too. I wonder if we can get Natalie to write some books about consciousness that teaches the young minds about who they are and where they come from. Natalie, how are you doing?
Sup, bitches?
What's up? How are you?
Good. I love my new title, The Dominatrix of Tarot.
Oh my God.
The Dominatrix.
It suits you very well. It does.
After the children's books.
Well, it's a good balance. You've got to have the light and the dark, and you've got to balance it all out. So I would say right on.
Yeah, that's what I think. And it's my Gemini moon, too. I always blame it on my Gemini moon.
Gemini moon. For people that don't know what that is, what is that?
Oh,
What's the
sorry.
significance of that?
Well, we were just talking about astrology, too. Yeah. So you have your sun sign, which is what everybody says, like I'm an Aries. We're all Aries in these screens. And then you have your moon sign, and then you have your rising, or what's the word? Ascending sign. So your moon sign is, your sun sign is your outward. Sure, you could do so much better than how your heart of hearts, I guess they say, who you really are. Your moon sign is your more like shadow side, emotional side, things like that.
So that would be the dominatrix side.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to understand a little more now. I don't know too much about astrology. For all I know, Cherie's just like my CIA handler. She's manipulating me with all these transits that she does every day, et cetera, et cetera. No. Not really, though. But I say that because she's so accurate in the transits that if I don't read them, I get screwed. So I try to read them.
Or I get screwed.
Nice.
Yeah,
one of the two.
But somebody gets screwed. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
As long as somebody's getting screwed.
Yes. There you go. Better. Yeah, you said it better than I did. So tell us about the children's books, first of all, because I've seen you posting them here and there, and I checked it out. They're really adorable, and I know they're available over at Amazon. So how did that come to be?
Yeah, actually, that series is called Conscious Kids. So that's cool that you mentioned that, and that your idea of a consciousness book would fit right into that series. But basically, I started with illustrating for some other people on their book. It was a cat book. And then I just started making my own books. I actually channeled my first book. I just sat there one day. I was laying down and I just sat up and wrote this book in 5 minutes. And then it took me 4 months to illustrate it. But when I started looking into the publishing process and everything, I was like, it is so much better to self-publish. So I just started doing my own books, and I just started putting out whatever I wanted to.
That is awesome. Conscious Kids. So tell us a little bit about some of the books. What's the latest one about?
The last one is called Chehalem Valley Children's Play, and Chehalem Valley is where I live. It's really, really beautiful here. It is about loving people even when they're difficult, because sometimes that's just what they need to turn things around. And it really hurts me to see people that are just having a hard time and really acting crappy. And everybody says, ew, get away from them. And I feel like it makes it worse. And that's how you ruin people. Well, not that we're dependent on it, well, so that book was just sort of about just being there for people, even you don't know what's going on in their life, being there for them and being a good person to them anyway. And then, how that can turn things around for them and
Aww.
pull everything together for the team.
Well, that's absolutely true. It's not the kid that's quiet and he's good and he just sits there and he says, yeah, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It's not those that you have to worry about. It's the ones that aren't so good. And the only reason they aren't so good is because they're having problems, emotionally, or they're having problems fitting in. And all it takes is that extra push for them, because those are usually the ones that are the organic ones. They're the ones that could do the most good for humanity in the end, if you guide them correctly. And so I love how you said that. That's absolutely true. It's not that people need to stay away from them. It's that people need to embrace who they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
So people in the chat are saying, a children's book writer by day, dominatrix at night. So I got to ask you, Natalie, bondage bed or St. Andrew's cross, what would you recommend for people out there?
I don't know what either of those things mean, okay?
That's probably good.
I really don't.
So I was living in this house, and I was in like my early 20s, and there was this party. I thought it was just a motorcycle party that would congregate once a month down the street from my house, like 5 houses away. Never paid any mind to it, anything like that. So I'm talking to this girl online, and she said, hey, you want to go to a party with me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And she's like, well, it's kind of a bondage type party, and I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's go check it out. Never been to anything like that. She sends me the address. It's 5 houses down from me.
Oh.
You get in, and the St. Andrew's cross is like a big X like that. And you've got this naked girl right there.
Oh my God.
You've got people in cages. You've got this guy in a cowboy hat and chaps, and he's bullwhipping this girl.
This was Texas, after all.
Yeah, in Texas. He's bullwhipping this girl. So as soon as you walk in, you're, what? Pa! Now, he's not actually bullwhipping her, though. See, the thing about the bullwhip is you do it to where it pops like next to the person, but not on the person, because you could seriously hurt somebody. So you have to be really skilled to do that. I was talking to the guy, and he's like, yeah, it takes a lot of practice, and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that was my one and only experience in the scene, I guess, which was funny because it was like right down the street from my house.
That must make going to the mailbox awkward.
Yeah.
Just picking up my mail.
So, anyways, so you were talking about your ayahuasca experiences. Now, I know that you recently got into ayahuasca. If I'm correct in this, tell people how that journey went.
Oh yeah, well actually, the first time I did some ayahuasca, I was just at the bar, and I did it with some friends in some capsules, actually. So I've been looking into that. I don't know if you guys know about this at all, but where you dehydrate it and put it in capsules. I've been looking into that because I'll tell you why. But yeah, so the first time I did try it, it was like I was in this jeweled land. It was just like gold and jewels and shiny. It was like just very comforting and beautiful. And I was just sort of, waiting for it to kick in. And then all of a sudden I started feeling the music, start bumping my body. And I'm like, okay. But it was very different. It was a different experience than when I've done the tea recently. And the tea, so I got Be Happy. I did the directions that you guys have on your playlist. And I made the Be Happy and that's how you say it, and the Acacia. The first time I tried it, I just kept dry heaving so much that I could not even take any Acacia. I could not even take anything down.
It's tough sometimes.
Yeah, that stuff's pretty bitter.
Especially if you don't filter it really good. It could be really bitter, especially with the all the gunk down at the bottom. So we spend like 3 days when we make it to try to make it as clean as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I did, yeah. There was no gunk, and I left it in the fridge for days, and I poured, the bottom had all settled, and I poured off the nice stuff. I wasn't expecting it.
Are you going to try again?
Yeah, so I did. I tried 2 more times.
Oh,
excellent.
That is awesome. That's hardcore, because a lot of people would walk away from an experience immediately, go, no, this isn't for me. But
no. I know it's for me. I've had that taste of it with those pills at the bar, and then, I didn't do it at the bar. I did it at a friend's house, but that's where it went down. So,
that would be called, just for people wondering, Pharmahuasca.
Pharmahuasca. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. So they made it in their kitchen.
Interesting. Usually people would extract like the roux, and then they would extract pure DMT and then take the roux and then the DMT together, or Be Happy, or whatever. There's so many different ways to make it, but that's what they call it, Pharmahuasca. It's just the name. It doesn't mean pharmaceutical companies or anything like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that was interesting. So yeah, I tried it because I had all the plants still. I ordered a bunch of it. So I had 4 attempts worth, and I did them all. I'm out now. I'm going to get more. But the second time I did drink the Acacia, and I threw it right up. But oh my God, the first time when I just did the Cappy, I was tripping before I even got to the Acacia. I was not expecting that. I was just seeing lions and neon stuff. Yeah. And then, so the second time I drank the Acacia and threw it up right away. But I still had a little experience. Yeah.
We'll have to get together sometime.
Yeah.
And you'll have to try Cherie's brews, because they're really easy to take down.
Yeah.
She'll get them like really like down to like 2 ounces of liquid per dose. And they're heavy, concentrated. And clean. And clean.
Like you can see through them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, a lot of it is getting the tannins out, and a lot of it is also brewing the Be Happy correctly. I remember a few experiences where the Be Happy alone was already making me see tracers and stuff like that. And so, I know what you mean by that, but when you get to about, I would say, 75 to 100 milligrams of DMT inside of you, that's when the real experiences occur.
Right.
That's when it really starts to happen. And if you take, and just, for future reference, whenever you drink the brew, the actual Acacia brew, you hold your nose, drink it, and then grab an orange slice and stick it in your mouth real quick, and make sure you suck on the orange slice, and that totally eliminates any taste of the Acacia. And that way you can hold it down, and then wait at least 40 minutes or so before you purge, and that way it has a chance to seep through all of your gastrointestinal tract, and it goes into your bloodstream. So Just FYI.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The orange.
I did something like that instinctively. I held my nose and then I drank some apple juice. That probably was
apple juice.
That might work
that works
too.
too. Yeah, orange juice would have been better because it's more acidic.
Yeah.
But you're trying to neutralize that. So, I totally skipped over this. I wanted to kind of segue into the tarot cards because that's your specialty there. So, tell me a little bit about the tarot. What is the tarot to you? How did you get into it?
Chris, you don't want to hear any more about how I vomited?
No.
On camera?
No, not really.
But I think there's some people out there that might. So, I mean, if you want to go right ahead, we have a pretty freaky audience.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Sorry, guys. Get out the tarp.
I'm better at astrology than I am at tarot. And it sounds like, you're very, very intuitive with the tarot. And, it's kind of I'm kind of the astrology person. You're more of a tarot person. So walk us through a reading for that you usually do and like why you decided to get into tarot.
Okay. Wow. Well, I hadn't really thought about that. Well, so for reading, I have a special spread that I do for basically everything, which is, I don't know, it's probably a spread somewhere else, but I just kind of made it up for my purposes, which is a relationship spread. And that can be to anything, not just a person. So like my relationship to this job that I want, or relationship to, a person, or, anything like that. My cat's just being a real bitch. What do I do? Well, let's just throw some cards and see what this bitch is thinking,
Aww.
I'm just kidding. I would never call a cat a bitch. Okay.
Oh.
Sometimes they are little bitches. I mean, I've had some that are just mean. You put your hand next to her and they scratch. It's just to be mean.
They just need more love.
That's true. That's true. How many kitties do you have?
I only have one. I'm allergic to cats, but my cat is a magical cat that I am not allergic to somehow. I have no idea how that happened, but
oh, that's awesome. How did you come across him?
Well, it was actually my daughter wanted a chicken, and they didn't have any chickens, so I said, "Well, let's get a cat."
Who didn't have any? Did you go to like a feedlot or something?
Yeah. They're like, you can't just get a chicken whenever you want. They're in like certain seasons. We do live in the country. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And that's at least I'm not like, okay. So anyway, we were going to get a cat instead. And there was this cat that she wanted, but it wasn't really working out. And I said, honey, if it doesn't work out, it's because this is not the cat for us. And she was like, yeah, she totally understood that. And she was like, okay. And she wasn't upset that cat wasn't working out. And then my cat came along and we both knew, we're like, this is why we waited. This is the perfect cat. And she does everything perfectly. She's like, I worship her.
Aww. We need a cat like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
She's been telling me for years now, we got to get kitties. We got to get kitties. I love kitties.
Essential for magical work.
Yeah, they're spirit-based animals.
They
sure.
really are.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell so many dogs and cats, but even more cats than dogs. Dogs are more, loyalty based, and they're sweet and cuddly.
They're more companion.
Yeah, they're more of a companion, but cats are more, hey, I'm your spiritual warrior here, and I will alert you to anything in the area. I will be there with you when you travel. I've heard of people whose cats are total assholes most of the time. And then whenever they drink ayahuasca or do DMT or do psilocybin, their cat's all over them and just loving all over them because they love that energy.
Well, not only that, but sometimes they can take stuff away from us.
That's right. That's right.
Your experience with Bastet.
Yep, I was 10 years old, and I had a cat that was really, her name was Babette, but I think I was thinking of Bastet, but I was young and I didn't know much about Egyptian culture, so
Didn't they dress you up in
yes, when I was about 10.
Was it Sumerian or Egyptian?
Sumerian. Yeah, we dressed up as Sumerians one day, and I was homeschooled at the time, and my homeschool teacher saw how I really, really liked to hear about ancient cultures, and so she dressed us up like Sumerians, which is really just a few white sheets, that were turned into togas, and she had us flatten out some clay and then some clay circles, and then like write on them with little sticks, and then we put them in the oven, and then we kept them, and I don't even know where they ended up, but
so back to Babette.
Yeah, so Babette, I'll just call her Bastet because that's who she was.
Lucky's cat name is named
Bastet.
Bast. Yeah. Bast is the older pronunciation.
Yeah.
From old Egypt.
Egypt.
It emerged into Bastet later.
Right, and she was awesome. She was the best cat ever, and I felt really bad later because my grandmother did not want me to get a cat, and my dad actually got me the cat for my 10th birthday, and my grandmother said, "Oh, you are not bringing a cat in our house unless you get her declawed." And so I was like, well, that sounds like it's gonna hurt. So she had the surgery, and then I carried her in my arms for like 6 weeks, and she slept in the bed with me. I fed her by hand. She never left my side for like 6 weeks afterwards. It was that whole summer was about taking care of this kitten, and she loved me forever after that. I think declawing a cat can be traumatic if you don't do that. If you don't give them that extra love, extra attention, really baby them while they recover from something like that. And because I did that, I got sick with strep throat whenever I was like 15, and my grandparents were out of town. I was missing school, just because I had such a high fever. I couldn't even function. I was on the couch, and she got on top of me, and I asked her, "Please just take it away. Take it away. It hurts so bad." And she starts kneading my chest and my belly, with her little paws, kneading the dough, and which is what they do with their mothers, and so she saw me as her mom, and she's kneading the dough, and I'm starting to feel better and better, and the next day I felt significantly better, and within 6 weeks or so she died. She got really sick. She stopped eating, and we took her to the vet, and they said she had cancer all over her insides, and she was only 5 years old, and so that was really unusual. I really believe she took it from me.
My heart was messing with me when I was about 30, and then the dog got congestive heart failure. I think he took that away from me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come and do that. They help us with spiritual stuff, and they'll take that kind of energy.
Yeah.
What do you think, Natalie?
Yeah. My cat just brings a lot of heads of dead animals to my doorstep every morning. So.
That's a warning to the other ones.
Right.
Don't come here.
I don't have any Sasquatch problems, okay?
Actually, it's a sign of appreciation, because they'll bring whatever they've hunted and they want to share it with you. And they don't know it's bad to go kill it. You feed them all the time, so they want to feed you too.
Oh, that's really
that's
sweet.
What goes through their minds.
I know. I'm like, quit being so good.
Yep. We got an interesting comment from the chat room from Cobra. It says, "It's sad that you live a depraved, decadent, deviant, debaucherous, degenerate, sociopathic, pathological lifestyle." He also called me a liar and part of the Rebel Alliance too.
Oh, I thought you meant me. I was so happy. Can we just say that was mine? Can we take out any of this?
Okay.
Make it look like that was for
I think
me?
it applies to all of us here. So
yes, yay!
I think we got to enjoy our lives. That's what it's all about. So you had an interesting experience that you were telling me about, and I don't quite understand it because we just kind of went over it briefly. But you breathe into things, and you had an interesting experience breathing into things. Can you tell people about that?
Yeah. Okay. So this was a couple years ago. It was the summer of the eclipse. And I'm right here on the edge of the eclipse. I was in the totality. But anyway, before all the eclipse stuff, I just think that really amped it up. I had been doing these group meditations and having a lot of experiences, really, I don't know what to call them, but they were interesting. And I started breathing into images. Like if I saw one in my mind's eye or in a real image, and I could start feeling its air. So I could smell the air. All of a sudden I could breathe the air. And it was like I was there, but just in here. And I had a few experiences when I was younger too, where I had breathed underwater. It was, and this is so weird. I had a dream about doing that last night too. But so I was like, I wasn't into the show yet. I'm not a big, huge Matrix the movie fan. Like, I like it, but I haven't watched it a million times or anything like that. But I just one day breathed into a pod. I knew I had breathed into a pod, and all of a sudden my oxygen was just going lower and lower. I couldn't breathe. By the time I got to the hospital, I had to be hospitalized for a week, 3 days in ICU. And there was nothing wrong with me. I did not have any infection, anything. There was nothing wrong with me at all. And they couldn't figure out why. And then I just slowly got better and was able to breathe again. But I just thought that was interesting because I heard you talk about that happening to you one time, not exactly, but something happening where you went to the hospital and they said you were fine. And it was just totally, awakening symptoms.
It was the weirdest thing. Like, I swear, like, I have a pretty good grip of my consciousness and of my body and all this. And I've never, ever been in a situation like this before. And I swear I was having a heart attack. And I told Cherie, I said, we need to go to the doctor. We need to go to the hospital right now. My chest started hurting so bad. I couldn't breathe. I was losing consciousness. And I was like, okay, I'm a psychonaut. I can grip my consciousness here. Okay. I felt like if I was to black out, that's it. I would be gone. And so she's driving me to the hospital and I'm breathing really deep and just trying to maintain, the consciousness. I get to the hospital, they put me up on the gurney and do EKGs and do all kinds of stuff like that. And they're like, you're fine.
There's
and I'm
nothing
like,
wung with you.
And they're like, it must have been a panic attack. And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
This guy doesn't have panic
I don't
attacks.
panic. This doesn't. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing though.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So yeah, that would, I just got better. And then right after that was, I was the eclipse and everything. And I wasn't super into that. But I just kept having all these experiences. Like all of a sudden I could not drink soda or smoke cigarettes or do anything bad for me. All of a sudden, like I couldn't even have a negative conversation with somebody. Anything bad for me would make me physically ill. And that's worn off, unfortunately.
Chris did have an experience when he was younger where he OD'd on, some kind of uppers that resembled MDMA, but it wasn't really MDMA.
Well, no. I was on a 5-day binge.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was cocaine and MDMA.
Oh,
and
yeah,
this
that's
was
right.
before I had any sense at all, period. And
he was really young.
On the 5th day, I was like 16 or something like that, maybe 17. On the 5th day, I took some MDMA and I was laying on the bathroom floor, and I hear bam, 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 bam. And my girlfriend at the time kicks the door in. She's like, oh my God, she's freaking the hell out over me. I've got blood dripping down my nose, all over my face, everything like that. And I get up and she's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh my God, I think he's dead. And I managed to get up and I was like, what are you talking about? I've never felt better in my life. And I look in the mirror and I'm covered in blood. And I'm like, okay, this is it. I gotta get a handle on this because this is just way, I should not feel this good while looking this bad. It just, But I wonder if there was some kind of death experience there and maybe walk-in type of situation. I don't know. Very strange.
But
yes.
Yeah,
Because
after that. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you go ahead.
Well, after that, he could not even smoke weed.
No. That was later.
Oh, that was later. Okay.
I had another overdose experience. That one I quit doing cocaine. That was the last time I did. I think I did it one more time in my early 20s, and I wound up like pacing back and forth, like you go to the zoo and you see the cats pacing back and forth. I was pacing back and forth through the house like that, and I'm like, this is not what's the point of doing this? This is stupid.
Right.
So, no, there was another time where we had gotten some stuff that we thought was MDMA. And this is why I was so against ecstasy for such a long time, because there was a point where it was nothing but street garbage. But then we got some pure MDMA, and oh my God, the pure, we did shows about this. It was that good. So, I had taken this stuff that I thought was MDMA, and we bought like 25 pills or something like that. And I wound up eating like 17 or 18 of them. And I didn't remember this. I would take one, and then it would give like a short-term memory loss. And I would take another one, and another one, and another one, because I couldn't quite get there. And I thought I had taken like, 3 or 4, which was my typical dose. But I wound up taking like 17 of them. And I broke the matrix, and I started seeing code everywhere, and it lasted for 5 days. And I started seeing just equations. See, it was weird because it was like a mixture of code, but also equations, like algebra equations everywhere. And everybody had an equation on their forehead too. And it lasted for 5 days. And that was the time when I couldn't do anything. I was like, okay, I need to give my brain adequate time to reset. And I did like 5 years. And then the ayahuasca reset it even more, when I started working with that. And then it was like totally reset, ready to go. Okay, now we're going to elevate and really, do all this stuff with focus. So there are dangers to some of the stuff that we talk about. Just a caveat out there for people, which is why I usually don't even talk about synthetics until we got the pure. It's like if you find the pure, it's totally different. But the point is, though, breaking the matrix, though. I mean, it was like I was seeing it way before I even understood what it was.
Yeah. And that, after that happened, I have this land in my dreams that I go back to every night, and I unlock different areas. Oh, which is very interesting. The very first time I found DMT, I unlocked a certain area where I was given DMT in my dream about a week before I found it. So anyway, after this hospital experience, I came home with new areas in my dream, completely new areas. And some of the people at the group that I was meditating with told me that, like you were saying about the walk-ins, that's where you go to draw at the hospital to drop off and pick up, different spirits and things like that. And she said that she knows a lady that like full blown saw a portal there. And I was like, dang.
There are definitely vortex energies at hospitals. I've seen what I can only refer to as vampires. Physically and possibly, spiritual vampires, energy vampires, but maybe even physical vampires. We went to this one hospital in Colorado Springs that is like reputed to be a big hotbed for like Satanism, however you want to define that. But
blood drinking rituals
in the morgue and things like that we didn't realize until after we left the hospital. I just felt the energetic pull, almost like the nurse was feeding upon the suffering of people, everybody there. And the staff was just like reveling in all the suffering. And then we read about it later, and we were like, oh, wow. So there is some lore behind this particular hospital.
Yeah.
I think it works both ways. You know what's funny, though? You were watching the OA, Cherie, and I told you about this dream I had a couple of days ago, like before we started watching the OA, before any of this. But I dreamt that me and a handful of other people were actually being experimented upon within a mental hospital. And all of this reality, the simulated reality, is just part of that experimentation that's taking place within this room. And so now Cherie's watching the OA, and she's like, hey, you remember that dream you had a couple days ago? This is what they're basically doing in the OA.
Yep.
I was like, holy crap. I don't know. What do you make of that?
In the second season of the OA, she skips dimensions at the very end of the previous season. And so it starts out with her in this new dimension, and she is taken to the hospital because the previous occupant of that body feels like it got shot in the chest, because the main character did actually get shot in the chest, and that's how she skipped dimensions. She dies. She skips dimensions as she's dying, and she wakes up in the hospital, and of course they think she's crazy, so they take her to a mental hospital, and it turns out that mental hospital is populated by the exact same people that she was locked up with in the previous dimension underground, and they're all mental patients. And then the head psychiatrist is actually the same guy that had locked them up in the previous dimension. And so it's bizarre. It is bizarre that you would have this experience of being really, like reality actually being in a mental hospital and this reality being the fake one. That is astounding to me. What do you think, Natalie?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think she thinks we're crazy.
No.
She's calling the mental hospital on her phone under the desk.
Aliens are watching you poop, okay?
I can see, some of our trolls going, all right, this is good stuff here. All right, I'm going to send this to the freaking mental health board here.
I think that you should do cocaine about it.
Okay. Let me do some coke, go into the realm, and come back, let you know what's going on. Well,
I'm ready to go.
I was talking to some people in the order of the mushroom pizza group. It was really the Terrence McKenna group, and they changed it on April Fool's Day to the order of the mushroom pizza. After magic mushrooms. And so I posted. I was like, "Hey, I joined a secret society, the Order of the Mushroom Pizza." I thought it was pretty funny. Like, it's just the name of it, the Order of the Mushroom Pizza. But there were some kids in there talking about, hey, can you travel with cocaine? Can you travel with these other kind of things? And it's funny because I've had experience with a lot of things, never heroin, never meth. I tried meth one time at a party when I was like 19 years old or something like that, but it was just a couple of bumps and that was it. But the few experiences that I have with those, they seem digital. Almost as if it does the opposite of what psychedelics and ayahuasca does. Ayahuasca kind of takes you inside or outside, and it's more of a spiritual thing where these other substances bind you further into this realm. It's hard to describe, but I think people get it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I did this stuff, like it was called 2CE, and it was basically the same experience from what like the little mini bit of DMT that I've experienced, that I've had. It was very similar, but it was just so pixelated. That I think that's the digital part, maybe. I don't know. Huh. Everything was like pixels. Did that happen for you?
No, but when we took yes, on the other ones, yes. I've never tried 2CB, although that might have been what I took that night that I overdosed. You had all these different analogs like 2CB, and you had
2CE,
PMA, and all kinds of stuff like that was supposed to mirror MDMA. And they were being passed off as MDMA. The problem is it's not as strong, and the overdose threshold is way lower. So you just think you have some weak pills, and you take more and more and more and more and more. Yep. However, when we took the 4ACO, everything looked digital like that. It was still kind of a psychedelic experience. It's 4ACO is synthetic mushrooms. But I remember everything looking digital and pixelated. Like this big cobra appeared in front of me and was like dancing around, and it was all made up of all these little pixels. And he was just like looking at me, and he's like, "Hey, aren't I cool looking?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you are pretty cool looking." I'm like, "You have anything to share with me?" He's like, "Nope, I'm just here just to look cool." And I'm like, "All right, so I needed that. Thank you."
It's a neat reason for my existence.
Yeah.
That was another cool thing about the acacia I forgot to tell you guys about. Every time I've tried it, I've seen lions, and big roaring lions that are just full of strength. Like they just have this message of strength. You know what I mean? And then also I feel like a soft flower in the wind, and it's so interesting, the juxtaposition of the two. It's just so, it was just a very caring strength. Like I kept getting this message, like, you are doing everything right. You have everything you're doing is right. Basically, like, stop freaking out. You're doing good.
Sometimes we need that, just to go in, just to confirm, hey, everything is as it should be. We'll drink ayahuasca sometime. Yeah, we'll drink ayahuasca sometime, and I'm like, I didn't purge. And it's like, well, you don't have to purge. You have nothing to purge.
You're clean.
You're clean. Enjoy it.
Maybe that's it, guys. I'm just so perfect.
You are.
The first time it was crazy. I was sitting in my room. I was watching it. I never watch a pot boil. I mean, that's insane, right? But I was watching the pot boil, or not boil, simmer. And I was sitting in my room. I decided I wasn't going to watch it anymore. And I was messaging. And then all of a sudden I felt my body start to sway slightly, which is what happens when I'm feeling energy. And I literally said to who I was messaging, I'm like, so what's trying to hit me up? Like, I'm feeling all this energy, you know? And I went in 8 minutes later to check on the tea. And it was just slightly overdone. And I was like, if I had gone in there 8 minutes when I was feeling my body swaying, it would have been absolutely perfect. So it was talking to me.
Ooh. Just kind of a connection going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I was reading an interesting study that showed that the brain actually reacts to events. I think it was like 2.5 seconds or something like that before they actually happen. So
that happens to me all the time. I distract like 2 seconds right before. I'm like, oh, wow.
Oracle Eye says, been missing y'all 2 to 3 days without a live stream. Makes me feel so alone.
Oh,
we're here for you.
We're here.
That's why
tomorrow.
I forced them, you guys.
Tomorrow, we're gonna try not to announce our guests, but tomorrow we're going to have Sonia Barrett on.
Yeah,
and she has some interesting experiments that she's done about the simulation. That's kind of proven to her in her own sphere that we are living in a simulation, and she's a freaking awesome person. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
She's such a beautiful soul. Very pure. Very pure soul. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's see if she throws her ayahuasca up or not, and then we'll see how pure she is, right?
That's true. That's true. I don't know if she's ever done that. We need to go out there and drink with Sonia.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting experience.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Me first.
Oh yeah, we need to come up. We need to do like a whole tour where we're like
where we just drive around the country.
I'll come to you guys.
And you're in Oregon. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah, you're
just
welcome
whenever you want.
anytime.
Just yeah. We've got
That's
an
on
extra
video
room
now,
here.
so.
You know, all that stuff. So
Awesome.
Did you want to do some tarot readings?
Yeah, I was thinking that would be cool to do some bad tarot readings. You know?
Bad tarot readings.
We want good tarot readings. So can you give us a reading on, and we'll go to break here in a few minutes, and so I can hook up the call board. But can you just kind of give us like a general reading as to like, you know, the state of the world? Or is that too big? Okay.
Well, I mean, that's no fun, really.
It's not? Okay.
I could, though, but I will.
Do a reading for me.
Oh,
if you don't mind.
So that's not. I broke the first rule of impromptu by telling you no, so I apologize for that. But here we go. Reading for Chris.
You don't have to do one for me if you don't want to.
No, I meant about the general state of the world. Okay, Chris. I'm just gonna do a small reading for you. Okay. So I have the cards are telling me that you are needing to balance more with your rest and not to take any charity. I don't know if you're like considering maybe taking some, not charity, but where somebody's going to like help you out maybe.
I've come to learn that help when not needed is no help at all. But it's funny because I was having this conversation with my trainer earlier this morning. She was asking about what I've been eating. She wants me to document what I've been eating. She also has been asking about how I sleep. And I explained to her I sleep about 4 hours a night. And she's like, look, you need to sleep more, okay? Somehow figure out how to balance this, but, sleep more. So it's funny. This whole conversation came up literally just earlier in the day.
How funny.
Yeah.
Well, I forgot to give you a bad tarot reading. I just gave you a regular one. I forgot.
Let's do a bad one involving farts.
Okay, involving farts.
Just kidding.
What's the fart thing? Because I see the joke.
I don't know.
Like you posted
it
this.
It is a total joke.
Yeah, I know, but she posted this iguana farting in the bathtub. A GIF.
Because she posted a little poot.
Oh,
on the
okay.
Bad tarot readings.
Well, here's another funny thing. So I was, with the trainer earlier today, and she's like, all right, do 15. And I'm like, I'm going to do 20. And then I stuck my tongue at her and went like that. And she had turned around as soon as I did. And then she looked at me like, ew. And I'm like, look, I just stuck my tongue out at you.
That's what you get, Chris.
Okay, let's do one for Cherie really quick. Hold on. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle once for the sake of live show.
Yeah.
You know what I always do when I'm nervous is I mix my tarot cards front and back. That is a wreck. Okay. Oh, Cherie got the BJ card.
Ooh. That's always my favorite.
Okay, Cherie.
Is that a suggestion for tonight?
Look.
Ooh.
Now, the High Priestess is the BJ card. That's the only possible meaning of this card. It's written right there in stone. So, now this guy here, he feels really guilty. He's really guilty that he probably killed somebody, but there's he killed these 2 cups, and there's still 3 cups left. And they want to go to the strip club back here. I don't know if you can see the strip club. They're like, dude, we're still here. Can we please go to the strip club now? So you probably want to go to the strip club.
Because he wants a BJ.
Because he wants the BJ.
That's why he's like...
That guy is Chris after I don't give him a BJ.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
And then once you get what you want, just take the fuck off. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, I'm going to bed now. Thank you very much. You're free to watch Netflix for the rest of the night.
Going to sleep mode.
You know what the BJ stands for, right?
What?
Boaz and Jachin.
Yep,
those are the
right.
pillars, the pillars in front of Solomon's temple. Well, I mean, I know you know the other definition. At least I think you do. Wow,
that was really.
We've never met, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
so I did not imply it like that.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's take a quick break, and that way my face isn't red anymore. And we will be right back, and I'll hook up the phone lines too. So if y'all want to call in 612-398-0600, it's right here down at the bottom, right there at the bottom. People ask in the chat room, what's the call-in number? I'm like, it's right there in the bottom. It's right there.
It's literally right there.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
I'm interrupted. Thought you might be running low. Thank you. I'm afraid you wasted all. Think we wasted it without coming here, don't you? Your question depends on your understanding. What you looked to achieve by coming here, what we thought to achieve, was to meet our maker. Give me answer. Are we in here for personalism? What do you think your people may need? Anything and everything.
And circumscribe your desires as we travel upon the level of time to that undiscovered state of consciousness, traveling to a place where once attained, no travel returns. The place of your consciousness which awaits us when we pass.
All right, 612-398-0600. We still want to hook up 833-BJ Live. Wait, what did I say?
What? I wasn't paying attention on that one.
833-BTV Live.
BJ Live.
But we haven't hooked it up just yet. But we do have a few callers on the line, so we can go to them if you'd like, Mrs. G, or is there anything on your mind?
Oh, no, I think we should go to callers.
Okay.
This
is, for those of you just joining us, this is just more of a fun, laid-back kind of show.
Yeah.
It's the BTV Hang Out. So,
people are talking about blood types in the chat.
The RH negative.
Yeah, the RH negative versus RH positive, and especially the O negatives. The O negatives, O just means that there aren't any sugars attached to the blood cells. I
always thought O negative was sweeter. For the vampires. Like
less
really?
Sugar, actually.
Oh, maybe that's the diabetic version.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got that fake sugar.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? Aspartame. But no, seriously. And the RH factor just means that if it's negative, it lacks the rhesus monkey factor. And so there's been a lot of people in the New Age kind of community that have said that RH negatives are more enlightened, or that they have more of a connection to divination and things like that. Chris and I are both RH negative, but still, I don't see a reason to attach, such a spiritual significance to the RH factor, considering that we have quite a few friends that are RH positive and they still are pretty, spiritually aware.
I don't know what to make about this, but I remember back in 2010, we were asking everybody from David Icke to Michael Tsarian to Jordan Maxwell. Everybody we had on the show, we would always mention the RH negative, and nobody wanted to talk about it. However, as time progressed, people started to analyze it a little bit more, so it is interesting. I think my blood type is A omega negative.
Or, something like that. And then I'm O negative. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, let's go to the phone lines. We have Canada is on with us. Canada, area code 647. What is your name and what's on your mind tonight?
Well, hello, Chris and Sheree. It's been wonderful to watch you guys and be with you guys right now. This is Oracle
Eyes, of course.
Oracle Eyes.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How are the two of you doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Great. Thank
It's
you.
so good to be with you guys again tonight.
Likewise. You have such amazing energy, and every time you're here, like I recognized your energy right off the bat. Like as soon as you started talking, I was like, oh, that's Oracle Eyes. Cool. I don't know if you ever called in before or not, but I don't know. The voice.
No, I haven't.
Really? Oh, okay. Interesting. You are on with Natalie. Would you like Natalie to do a good reading or a bad reading for you?
I would love Natalie to do both because we need the balance, right?
Exactly.
Okay, well, what would you like to know?
You know what? My mom just passed a few weeks ago. And she didn't have the same belief systems as I did, but she was a wonderful woman, but I'm sure she was an NPC. But I'm still concerned about her crossing over. And, when she passed away, and I went to see her, of course, and I was lying on the floor with her, and I kept telling her, Mom, don't go into the light. Don't go into the light. It's a trap. Please, if you don't want to come back here, don't go into the light. But, of course, with her not holding the same belief systems as I do, I don't know if that had any effect or where she ended up going. Did she get recycled? That's my concern.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a really interesting question, and I don't know that that's something I can ask, but I always just do it anyway because I'm always surprised when tarot comes up with an answer anyway. So
that was a pretty hardcore question. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope I didn't get too deep or too sad on people. I was just
no, not too sad, not at all. It's an interesting question for the tarot, though. I think I talked about this before. My mother passed as well, and I went through the whole loss and suffering and grief, and then let go of all the loss and the grief, and then it just kind of changed everything. And I really truly appreciated her for who she was after I let go of the loss.
Absolutely.
But I think Natalie has the cards ready. What do you see, Natalie?
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting. I love how tarot answers really intense questions. So two cards that I'm going to show you the cards for a second, and then I'll pull them down so that I can just talk to you.
So we have the Hermit,
Justice, and the Knight of Wands. The Hermit and the Knight of Wands are on either side of Justice, and they are both reversed. Something that I thought was interesting about both of those when you say the light is that Knight of Wands is fire, and it's reversed. So I mean that could be no light there, and then also the Hermit, who has a lamp in his card, is reversed, and those are right on either side of Justice. So I want to say that your mom is doing just fine. And I don't want to say your mom definitely went to the light or didn't go to the light. But these cards look good for that. So, I mean, you could probably, I don't want to give you a bad tarot reading on that.
No, okay, I get that. How about my love life? You can give me a bad tarot reading on my love life, even though I know it's bad.
Now that'll be good. Okay, what I'm going to need you to do is just fart it all out. This is a special oracle card that I made just for the show tonight.
Nice.
And what you do is you just fart out all the negative energy.
Wow.
Beans help, okay? Beans help, and
wow.
but Taco Bell is dark magic. So
I love it.
Breathe in the good, fart out the bad.
That's right.
There you go. I love it.
That's how it works. If you've seen any, what is it called? The toroidal system. I shouldn't try to sound smart. Never mind. Okay, here we go.
That's all good.
So you have the card that Chris had about not taking any. Basically, it's probably saying if you have maybe a rich boyfriend or something like that come along, or somebody that's offering you something, don't take into that. And you have the King of Cups. So are you in a relationship or no?
No, I've been single for about 2 to 3 years now, and celibate for the same amount of time, and it's getting frustrating.
Okay, so you.
Well, I mean, I can tell you what the lesson is there. You got to learn to love yourself first.
You know what? I absolutely. No, you're absolutely right in that, because with the last relationship, it was a narcissistic relationship, and I learned from that. This was all about me not putting myself first.
Okay, well, you have a King of Cups and a King of Swords, and so I feel like this might be 2 guys in your future that you have to choose between. So it would be a water sign or an air sign. Do you know about the element signs, or should I break that down a little bit?
I do know a bit about it. I'm a fire sign myself. I'm a Leo.
Oh, girl, me too. You're a Leo. Those are my favorite. And we're all Aries here, so.
Okay.
On the screens. Okay, so yeah. I was supposed to give you a bad tarot reading. Okay, so here's what you need to do. You need to go out and find you a sugar daddy. One with
Lord have mercy.
A really bad attitude. Yeah. He's probably gonna want to do really freaky things to you in bed, just dominate you basically, and that's gonna be okay. I think you should just go ahead and go with that.
50 Shades.
So don't forget.
That works.
Yeah, don't forget. You're gonna be mid into it, and you're gonna be like, I really don't want to do this, and you're gonna be like, wait, the tarot card said to go for it. So yeah,
exactly, and I'm gonna go for it.
50 Shades of BTV.
Just make sure that he buys you lots of stuff.
Right?
What does Cardi
curious,
B say?
Chris, and oh, sorry. Continue.
No, go ahead. I was just going to quote Cardi B. Nobody wants to hear that.
Oh my gosh. So I was curious, maybe you or Chris or Cherie could answer this question for me. It was based on a chat we had on the last show with regards to the ayahuasca, and I was asking you about the attacks that happened in the ayahuasca round, and I don't think I explained myself very succinctly when I was text messaging it on the chat, and I was curious to know about our inner darkness and our inner demons. And I started to wake up when I was about 15, and I'm 45 now. So I've been walking this path for 30 years, going from different teaching to different teaching, just taking the truth from what works for me and moving on, doing my meditation, taking what works for me, moving on, taking what works for me and moving on. I've been doing that for 30 years with all the meditation. And with all that, I do know that there is darkness within me, and I've been working, steadily to take care of that. But I know it's still in me. I know based on how I live my life on a daily basis, there is that demon, that darkness, I don't know, that's still within me. So my curiosity is, when I go into the ayahuasca realm for the first time, because I have not done it yet, and I'm making plans to do it, and I'm facing my own darkness, I'm curious as to what that will look like, so that I know this is coming from me. This is not external. This is internal. And to be able to know that I can stand up to that, like you said on one of your shows, and say, listen, I'm in charge of you. I rule you. You don't rule me.
Yes.
I applaud
and I want
you.
to know that I can...
That is amazing, Oracle Eyes. And you're asking the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the specific answers, though, because it's going to manifest in different ways for different people. Now, don't expect as soon as you go into the experience that's as soon as you're going to encounter that immediately. It may be a loving, motherly kind of energy. Isis may wrap her wings around you, or Mother Aya, however you want to describe this spirit that's there. And a lot of people experience that too. So the ayahuasca kind of shows you what you need at the particular time. And sometimes you just may need just those wings wrapped around you, just so you can remember, hey, you're protected, and you are loved. So that could be the first experience there. The second, third, fourth experience may, it's only going to be when you're ready. When you're ready and you decide, hey, you know what, I've had enough hugs. Now I want to go in here and do some actual work, and you actually put it out there.
Right.
Then it may manifest in different ways. It can manifest in, like for me, for example, it manifested as these boxes that I was tethered to. And I had to go and open these boxes. And then when I opened the boxes, it was kind of a flood and a remembrance of the memories that I'd forgotten about. And then it's like, oh, I remember that now from when I was like 2 years old. And it was directly tied into some of the emotional responses that I had in my 30s, because this all happened like right in my early 30s. So I was kind of breaking myself down like that. But it was the flooding and the remembrance of all of these events, and then realizing they were there, and then cutting that tether. So it may manifest like that. Demon faces and things like that. I hear people talking about that, and I've seen some stuff that would look kind of scary to some people. But really, in my experience, when I've seen those, I've moved beyond there, and it's not usually manifestations of your own darkness in the sense that it's old traumas and things like that, but rather it's a manifestation of your fears. And then when those fears manifest in front of you and you move beyond them, you're kind of breaking through, and then there's gnosis on the other side of that, which is like why I tell people, hey, you got to face your fears, you got to face down your fears and move beyond there, because that's where the real learning takes place. Did you want to comment, Cherie?
I just want to say I applaud you. I applaud you for right off the bat for saying that these things are not external, because I know of a lot of people who they see demons or they see scary stuff in their ayahuasca experiences, and they immediately externalize that, when in reality, it's reflecting either your own fears or your own darkness inside of you. And that's, I mean, I applaud that. Absolutely. Now, that being said, honestly, I've never had an experience where I go into it I'm pretty rough on myself emotionally. You know, I usually take full responsibility for my actions to the point where I am so open about my own responsibility that the wings come in. You know, I'm told you are loved, you are important, you are special, and you know you're doing everything you need to be doing. I've never had an experience where where I felt like I was just beaten to a pulp emotionally over things that I had done or anything like that, because the harder on yourself you already are, the easier the experience will be. It seems counterproductive, but it's really not, because it's showing you that, hey, you've got darkness. Everybody does. This is how you deal with it. This is how you deal with these old traumas. And once you've dealt with them, you move on. And then there have been times where I've seen what I would consider scary faces and things like that. And then I've realized this is Kali, or this is some kind of goddess that would be seen as scary because, you know, she's got her tongue hanging out and she's got knives in her hands. Exactly. But in reality, I'm seeing this because I need to cut out certain things from my life that are holding me back, or people in my life that are interfering with my path, or they are trying to divert me from my path. And I've got to cut those ties with those kinds of people. And so if you see scary stuff, yes, it's good to go beyond that. But at the same time, you have to really ask yourself, am I seeing this because I need to deal with something? So
that's true. Back to the relationship thing. I mean, being in a traumatic relationship like that, and I don't know how long it was, but I take it was several years. A lot of traumas were pushed upon you that you may be connected to, and then you have certain behavioral patterns that you may not even realize, or maybe even energetic blocks that you've put up to prevent other people from coming into the sphere like that, out of the, and I'm using the word fear just for lack of a better term, but out of the fear of allowing yourself to get back into that same energy sucking kind of situation.
Vortex,
And you may not even be realizing it. So that's why, you know, good people may be coming into your sphere, but you're like, whoa, hold on, and pushing them back unknowingly. Which I think the ayahuasca will help to break all of that down.
And to differentiate.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Just one other question with regard to the ayahuasca. Is there any kind of situation, because I would assume if I were a negative or evil entity roaming around out and about, you know, in this third dimension, I would try, as a negative or evil entity, I would try to focus on the people who are trying to go into the ayahuasca realm and stop them, because I don't want people to get spiritual or open up their minds. So is there such a thing as the external negative or evil demonic entities that try to stop us from going into the realm so that we don't open up our hearts?
In my experience, I have seen grays. And this is this is what I would consider to be demons, but they don't want to stop the experience. They want to be a part of the experience. They want to observe. They want to jump on the consciousness and observe what you're observing, and they want you to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you get the ego trips where you start to bring them into the experiences more and more. Remember, Cherie, we were in Colorado. I was laying on the couch, and this Native American drumming came on. Boom, 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 boom. No, it wasn't bum, bada, bump. It was boom, 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 boom. It was really dark, you know, with just one whistle. With one flute, and at that point, the light started flashing like a strobe light, and a gray materialized right there in the hallway, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking back at him, but there was no fear or anything. I was just looking at him and going, "Yeah, you're a really interesting character." He was just observing, and that's it, just observing. But you know what we usually do beforehand.
How did you keep the gray from piggybacking on your experience?
Realizing that they were doing it. I think they were piggybacking a lot of the times, leading into, even as far as the past couple of years, until I realized what they were doing. I didn't know they were doing this. I just thought, oh, cool, I'm able to see grays. That's awesome. But then the message was, don't talk to them, don't feed them any energy, don't do anything at all, period. And then we found out, that symbol, that winged sun disk, repels them. However, what we always do leading into the experience is we'll take some sage and completely sage the house and open the windows and command any negative energies to leave the house through the window. You're giving a way out. Leave the house through that window, and we would create a circle around the room where we were doing the ayahuasca, and the circle was only done with the sage, so it's not like we drew any lines or anything like that. But we would create a circle, which I'm thinking now of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, where he says everything is a circle, stay away from the angles. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. But that's the protective energy that we place around ourselves first and foremost. Now, if you have some really negative energy that's like really lingering, frankincense is like a nuclear bomb. I would come home sometime and Cherie would be preparing, and the whole house would just be filled with frankincense. So much to the point where I'm like, keep it away. No, it's just the smoke was so heavy that I was like, oh, Cherie, come on, you gotta chill out with that. But so sage and frankincense. But I think what they do is
do sage.
Yeah, you don't have the sage doesn't necessarily have the power, neither does the frankincense, but it's the intention that you can put into the smoke as the smoke's going up and out. So I mean, from what I'm picking up from your energy oracle eyes, you're already honed into the spiritual. You already know protection and all of that. And so just being conscious about implementing those, I think you're going to have a wonderful experience. We talk about some of the darker aspects here on BTV only because those are things that nobody ever talks about. And so nobody has warned us about any of this. We just have to experience it ourselves. However, it's the loving
Which is
experience.
wonderful why you guys are doing what you're doing, so that you're letting us know what to, an idea of what to expect. Because, of course, everybody's experience is personal, but that's why what you guys are doing is so amazing.
Thank you. The number one thing that really drives me crazy in these experiences are the thought loops. So if I've congested my mind with something, remember there was like 3 weeks, Cherie, we were drinking ayahuasca and all I was thinking about was freaking work. Yep. And what was going on at work. Oh my God, I was in this meeting today. This guy said this guy said that, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just driving me in circles. And I'm like, I don't want to freaking drink anymore. And she's like, why not? And I'm like, because I just go in here with thought loops, these damn thought loops. That's all it was. But there was an interesting thing that happened from this experience is they were trying to show me one of the people that I was working with was a really, really horrible person. Yeah. Come to find out he had murdered his baby and nobody knew about this. He was in prison for 20 years before all this. Now, this was 20 years ago. But when this came to the surface, they disconnected all relationships with him and all this. But he was carrying this negative energy, and the ayahuasca was showing me there's something wrong with this guy. There's something wrong with this guy. So even the thought loops, even they had a purpose. But that's why I always say just clear the mind, clear the space. And if you're meditating already, then you know how to clear your mind and clear your space. I think you're gonna have a wonderful, loving experience. Yeah, and then when you're ready to progress more, you'll let the plants know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you two. I love you guys so much. You're like my long-lost family.
Aww, we love you too.
We feel the same way. We love you too, for sure. And if you have any questions, if you need any help with anything like that, definitely let us know. And I don't know if you're on Facebook, but if you go to our Beyond the Veil group over on Facebook, there's a lot of really awesome people that can help out too with anything that you're doing.
Oh, great. Fabulous. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
All right. 612-398-0600. Any thoughts, Natalie?
I always wonder about, that Ghostbusters movie where there's that blob that's in the bathtub that they can't anger?
Oh my God.
And it's like, that's what...
That movie scared the crap out of me when I was like 4. It really did. I thought it was going to come out of the bathtub every time I would take a bath.
Yeah. Whenever I whenever I'm making the acacia brew, I always think, like, when I'm watching my energies and my, emotions, I always think of that. Like, I don't want it bubbling over.
Do y'all remember the movie Ghoulies 2? I remember walking by it in the movie rental place, and there was a summer where I watched every single horror movie because they were like a quarter or something like that. And my grandparents would give me $5 and I'd come back with like 10 movies and just sit there the whole summer watching horror movies. But Ghoulies 2, the little ghoulie pops out of the toilet. And I saw this when I was like 7 or 8 years old. And so for like 3 or 4 years after that, I would always check the toilet. And every time I would be sitting on it, I would be afraid the little ghoulie was going to pop up and grab my butt.
They call them ball snatchers.
Yes. Ball fondlers.
The new name for them. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I've seen that movie.
All right, let's go to... Area code 207. Area code 207, what's your name and what is on your mind?
Oh, boy, what's on my mind? I didn't take an inventory today.
Uh-oh.
Good evening. My name's Tom.
Tom, welcome to the show.
Tom. Hey, thank you very much. I haven't gotten a reading in ages. I mean, it's too many moons have passed that I even want to bother counting.
Well, you've called at the right time.
It's been a long time. Yeah, yeah. So
I just so happened to be channeling aliens and... Oh, sorry.
So
that could be too.
There you go. So, Tom, do you have a specific question for Natalie or just a general reading?
No, just a general reading. If she sees anything that sticks out, sure, definitely. Like I said, it's been too long.
Tapping straight into AI.
Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Natalie's going to be doing a show on TFR. We're going to find a spot for her sooner than later, but yeah, you'll be able to do this on a weekly basis. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Tom. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying I'm an Aquarian with a Virgo moon and a Taurus ascendant.
Okay, well, here we have, I like to call this the idiot card. Now, I'm not calling you an idiot, Tom.
Oh, that's me. I just mentioned that today. I'm the village idiot.
So maybe it's because, I don't know, like, this card was upside down. So I think maybe this means that you are... Now, usually when I have this card, all the guys have googly eyes, and we say something about them trying to put up a tent or something sassy like that in the tarot industry. But it's basically just these guys they're just more idiots. They cannot get their shit together to do anything, much less build a tent with all these wands. We call them dick sticks, by the way. And then more confusion with this card. So it's just you like looking at all... Well, I'm like moving my card the wrong way here, but
so wait, hold on. What card is that, Natalie? Because I can see it a little bit in the screen, but
okay. Sorry, this is the 7 of Cups.
Okay.
So this is another. You have 3 confusion cards basically. Like you need to focus. Bam. How does that resonate? You can throw a
goddamn
Tom?
In there because it sure does. It sure does.
Good. Well, I hope I wasn't too hard on you.
Well,
I mean, no, not at all. I am perfectly focused. It's only that I'm focused on 1,000 things a day all at once.
Right.
And
I hear
that's
you on
not
that.
productive for me.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
The 7 of Cups, that's the one where they're all reaching for the sky, right?
No, he's looking at... Oh.
No?
Well,
which one was that one you just showed?
The 7 of Cups is where... Oh, the one where they're all... No, you're talking about... Okay, so he's looking at all the cups in the sky.
Yes, it seems like pie in the sky kind of dreams, perhaps.
Right,
maybe
totally.
Too busy daydreaming and not focusing, or daydreaming about several different things, or even focusing on things that are kind of unreachable rather than focusing on things that are reachable. What do you think about that, Natalie?
Oh, I think you're good.
I think so too, because I live in my head practically all the time. and it's hard for me to really put my mind on what's pertinent and what's really happening.
Yeah,
Instead of what
that's
I would like
you.
to happen.
You in your head,
You know.
just deciding all these different, what you want to do, all your different ideas. And I am what is your sign? You said you're an Aquarian?
Yeah, I'm an Aquarian.
So, yeah, that
Aquarius,
makes
Virgo,
sense
or the
too.
Taurus. Yeah.
Oh, with the Taurus. So you're probably like coming up with all
Yeah.
these ideas and you definitely want to do them. They're happening.
You know, when I get one of these off to shoot crazy ideas and I focus on it, I'll do it. It'll get done. It'll be behind me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's too many of them,
Mm-hmm.
There's this
Well, yeah,
reality is just passing me by here.
you get the googly eyes and the Five of Wands, all these guys with their googly eyes and their dick sticks. I mean, it's just not going to go, Just not going to be easy.
This is a very different type of tarot reading, I have to say.
Yeah.
I've never heard it put so eloquently.
Let me tell you about the different suits, okay? So the wands are the dick sticks, and the cups are the crybabies. The swords are mind bullets, and the pentacles are devil cats. Have you ever seen that meme with the cat that's like licking its butt and it's got its leg up in the air and they make a pentagram out of it and they say that cat...
No, but we used to have like 5 cats, and I swear to God,
the position.
I would walk into the room and they would all be sitting in a circle and look at me as if like I'm interrupting some kind of meeting that's going on. And then they would sit there like this. They weren't asleep, but they would sit there like this, like they're beaming stuff up back to the mothership.
That's what they were doing exactly.
Yeah.
Good intuition on that. Yeah. So my daughter, she was like, 7 or 8, and she kept asking me about the pentacles. She's like, Mom, look at all the devil cats. Why are there so many devil cats on there? And I was like, devil cats? What are you talking about? I'll have to put the meme in the group so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But so those are the 4 different suits according to Natalie. Those are the Polaris Tarot suits.
Excellent. You need to make the Natalie Tarot.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what I'm doing.
Nice.
I don't know. You should check out my Instagram. If anybody wants to see like all of my descriptions of the cards that are all crazy, go on my Instagram, which is Polaris Tarot, and it's on Facebook too. But Instagram is where I have all my cards lined up there for you guys to see, and I have a bunch of spreads too that are all really messed up. Bunch of tarot memes I made. So it's all original content. So if you guys are into tarot, you'll have fun on that.
Awesome. Hey, sweetie, if you're not feeling good, you can go.
No, I can hang out for a little bit longer.
Because I can see that you that you have a little bit of yeah.
Hers needs a kitty.
I need a kitty on my lap. If I had a kitty on my lap, I'd feel much better.
I made an oracle card for tonight and this is what you need.
Boobies. Boobs. I've already got a few, but thank you.
Not any in your face.
That's true. See, you just need somewhere to re-energize.
I was doing a live show on one of my groups, and one of the watchers from here, from BTV, was watching it. Kenneth Rubio. He said that he was at work, and Amy Foster and I were motorboating our own boobs. And he said he had to slam the blinds shut.
Well, the
to each her own.
The conspiracy is that you have to show your boobs to be a moderator over at the BTV group, and I'm like, no, that's only happened one time.
That was a reward for bravery and not giving a fuck.
It was, yes. It wasn't a prerequisite. But,
no. But extra points.
Extra points. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi. I was wondering if I was muted or not. Yeah. Is there anything else that you see?
Oh, I already put your cards back, but no, I think we went over it.
Pull one out of the middle of the deck for me. Could you do that?
Sure, I'll do that. Okay, now look, you've got the 9 of Wands, which is just more of you fighting. This is a fighting, you've fought for all these wands, and you are going to hold on to every one of them, damn it. So let some go. Or don't, because this is a bad tarot reading. You should just okay, Kenneth Rubio just messaged me.
Well, no, I'm of German descent, and I'm very stubborn. I'm right out there, and I don't fold for myself even.
And you have your Taurus moon,
that
too.
Card kind of states a lot. It really does, that card.
Yeah. So, well, I think you know what you need to do. You can do it. I know you can do it. You should write it down. Hail
I
Satan.
don't need to write it down. I remind myself constantly what I need to do.
Awesome. So we appreciate it, Tom. Anything else?
No, thank you very much. Thank you so much, all of you.
Absolutely.
Love
you, brother. Take care. All right. Oracle Eyes had another question for you. And we have a couple of people that were holding before her, but I want to go back to her real quick, just to kind of keep it both together. So I think Oracle Eyes is back on with us.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Thank you so much for taking me again.
It's been a while. It's been such a long time. What have you been up to?
Right? It's been so long. I love you guys. I wish I was like your neighbors next door, honest to God. But anyhow, I just wanted to know from Natalie, because I forgot to ask her, that was probably my big relationship question was, because after being in that narcissistic relationship, and I've been single and celibate for the last 2 years, is my twin here with me in this reality, and will we meet up? Because I don't want to have another relationship, really, unless it's going to be with my twin. And if my twin's not here, then I'm just probably won't focus on a relationship for the rest of this reality and just focus on the spiritual.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just pull
She asked the big questions, Natalie.
I know. Well, the tarot ain't scared, so let's see. I'm just going to do a new reading for you. Well, you have the sun as the first card, so that's great. I feel like the sun casts a good omen over your whole reading, so that's great. And then you have the Knight of Pentacles, and you have the Six of Pentacles reversed. Now I remember your last reading was talking about money too. I feel like you're gonna just meet a rich dude. I think that's what's gonna happen, and I just want you to remember me when that happens, okay?
I will so remember you. I'll actually come take you out to dinner. How about that? With his money, right? Because he's
Lambo.
Well, if I can jump in for a minute.
How about
Well, if I can jump in for a minute, Oracle.
Yeah.
What I'm feeling from what you're saying is that I may be right as to what I was feeling earlier, that you're putting up these energetic blocks, and because you asked, is my twin here? I only want a relationship with my twin, and that's it. But maybe there's still some more lessons that you have to go through, and so I wouldn't close yourself off. And this is just my what I'm feeling energetically. But I wouldn't close yourself off to all other possibilities, because somebody wonderful can come by who can teach you so much more to prepare you for that. Like, I had to go through a series of relationships before I met Cherie, and some were good, some I was the asshole, the others I was being treated mean, very badly, and I learned all of that and brought it into the relationship here, so I can better be mean to Cherie, and I can better take her being mean to me too. No.
Right.
Actually, you know what, Chris? What you just said was very profound, actually, because as soon as you said that, I could feel that in me, and I was like, you're right. There might be a few more relationship lessons. I rather think that I've gone through most of them, but, there might be one or two left that I have to do before I get to my twin. You're right.
Just go with
I didn't
the
even
flow and
consider that.
do what feels right. And if somebody feels like, they're not your twin, but you definitely feel like you want to explore that for the reasons that Chris just said, just go for it,
Okay.
I think
like
you should.
that.
I think you should let go. Just let go, and just
you should do cocaine
find
about
the
it.
center. That is the worst advice that has ever come out.
It's bad tarot readings. Bad advice, bad tarot readings.
Here,
I
you
love
should just
it.
tell
I love it.
you should just tell every man to suck my dick. Just tell every man that.
You know,
Chris and I can
sometimes
say
I do. I'm
whatever I
like,
want.
you know, actually what I usually tell them is like, go suck my big ovary balls, baby.
Oh my God, I love it.
Okay, I'm getting bad now.
AI.
Okay, you guys are the best. Thank you so much again for taking my call. I so much appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Absolutely. Love you.
Love you guys.
Take care.
So we have a question real quick from Yawel, who said, what would you recommend to Aries for this particular point in time? And my advice was to be patient, because that's already hard for us. I mean, we're like the tip of the spear. Like, actually, we're about 5 feet ahead of the tip of the spear. We charge into everything. We just want things to be over and done with. You know, get it done, get it done, get it done. And things are just, it's stacking up in our way. I've got like so many things that I need to be taking care of right now. But at the same time, you know, I'm still recovering from surgery. I've got to be patient with my body. You know, I can't even lift over like 10 pounds still. And it's like, but that is, you know, I think we're all dealing with that. All the Aries are dealing with a lack of patience. And so be patient is what I would say. What would you say, Natalie?
Oh, yeah. I think being patient and understanding of other people's viewpoints. I feel like for an Aries, I think that's kind of hard sometimes. And once you start doing that, it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
But you really have to, I have to write everything down to get that straight, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has their own thing they have to do, but it's not just like it's going to start coming to you just because you thought of it. You have to really try to see, and like just look up, you know, I like to say that I associate myself with the reverse meanings of all of the cards, and those tie into astrology as well, you know?
Yep.
So if you write down like, okay, here's everything I identify with myself, and then you can consciously work on that, you know?
Yep.
So ladies, I got a question for both of you. I hear that it's better when tarot cards are gifted to you. Is that, what do y'all think about that?
Go ahead,
Some
Natalie.
people are so strict. Some people are so strict that they think it's like horrible if anybody touches your deck, and if you buy your own deck, and there are all these different rules. I like to know the rules because I like to break them immediately. So
also an Aries trait.
Yeah. So I'll just like go buy my own deck and just like have everybody hold it. And,
molest
like
my deck, please.
Health readings, legal readings. That's fine. I just say, look, this is not my information. I channeled aliens. So if you're going to sue anybody, you know, I'm a ghost. Don't look at me.
That's really profound. I mean, it's almost as if y'all are testing the boundaries and never hitting the same area twice.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
That's the Raptors. That's the Raptors in Jurassic Park.
In my opinion, you know, I've never really played by those rules. I'll buy my own tarot decks if it's, you know, if somebody touches my tarot decks that has bad energy. Absolutely, yes.
Well, remember at Hatshepsut's temple?
Yep, we were at Hatshepsut's temple, and one of our contact came up to us, and he starts like fondling my deck, and I'm like, and he wants to like go through
and then he started fondling my deck too, and I'm like, dude, come on, this is not cool.
All the decks are getting fondled.
He molested my deck, but no, seriously, he's like going through each and every card. And I'm like, oh my God, you know? And so the first thing I did when I got home, I tried to clean them with sage. I tried to, you know, leave them in a bowl with crystals. I did everything I could think of to try to, you know, get these cards to work right for me again. And they wouldn't. And so I ended up having to buy a new deck. And yes, I bought the new deck. But I used Chris's money for it. So I consider it a gift.
Did you order it on Amazon?
I consider it a gift.
Well, what I was going to say, Sheree, is what I'd like you to do and Natalie, if you can give Cherie your address later on Facebook, I'd like you to send Natalie a Goddess Tarot deck.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea because I love the Goddess deck. I love it a lot more than the Rider deck. And the reason why is because the feminine energy is inherently more intuitive. Right off the bat. And not only that, but the Rider deck seems to have so many negative connotations attached to it. And, you've got the Hanged Man, you've got, the Devil card and all these, really overall negative.
Just the balance, the negative and positive.
The balance between the negative and positive. But you get the same thing with the Goddess deck, except it's not so, oh my God, I pulled the Devil card. You've got pretty much all the goddesses and making up the major arcana. And then you've got the cups, the swords, the wands, the dick sticks. And you've got all of the same thing, except it's done in the right, in my opinion, context.
No, the dick sticks is only in the Rider deck, isn't it?
Right. Rider, wait.
Rider, wait. That's what Chris hears. Wait. Anyway, yeah.
I'm a rider, wait, bitch.
Anyway, yeah. So I will send you those cards.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'd like to see how they work for you.
Yeah.
So let's go back.
Thank you so much. That's so nice.
Oh yeah, I think you're gonna love them. They're like I've worked with the Rider. I've worked with the Toth deck too. It wasn't the Crowley deck though. It was more like an Egyptian deck. I don't know. It was weird. I'm not any good at this. Charisse tried the Rider, a couple of other ones, but the most accurate readings definitely do come from the Goddess Tarot because I think it is that feminine energy. So we've got a couple more callers. I need to go grab some more coffee though. So let's run a quick break and we will be right back in just a moment after we get some more coffee, and we will be back to your calls right here on Beyond the Veil.
Woo.
Greed has twice been exposed.
Either you're with us, or you're with the enemy.
It's barricaded the world with hate.
We need to build a wall. A wall.
It's the steps of history that Machine with its abundance has led us a lot.
The Japanese government reported cooling problems at the Fukushima Daiichi plant.
Our knowledge has made cynical. Our curse is not unkind.
I pay taxes, bitch. That's why it's my problem.
We think too much. You too little.
Studies suggesting there's a surge in the amount of antipsychotic drugs prescribed to teens and young adults.
All machinery, we need humanity. All the cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent. The world will be lost.
A 90-year-old World War II veteran has been arrested in Florida for feeding homeless people.
The airplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for unity again. It cries out for universal love in the unity of soul. Even now, my voice is reaching millions around the world. Millions of scared men and women. Victims of system replacement torture.
We wiretapped our wives, that helped us. We invaded a foreign country, that helped us.
Those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The mystery that is now upon us is but the passing of the greed. The bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictates stand. And the power they took from the people will return to the people.
Missy will speak again. Bidder organic consciousness are welcome to the House of Light. The great institutional materialism has failed. The false civilization built by man has turned, like a monster destroying its creator. Science backs itself impotently against the barriers of the unknown. Only your consciousness knows the true path. You, illuminated, will carry the understanding upwards towards the light. Only your consciousness can teach the children of men to live well, to die well, and live perfect nature. Be born again, through the knowledge of virtue, compassion, love, and true understanding, as it is firmly raised beyond the veil.
All right, we are going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. We have a couple more calls we want to take, but Mrs. Gio's not feeling well, and I think Natalie is paying $20 an hour for a babysitter. So I think both ladies need to go here pretty soon. But I want to go back to the call board here. Let's go to area code 803. 803, what's your name and what's on your mind?
I'm JK.
JK, how are you? Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I'm a fan of Michael Tsarian, and he's into the tarot and like a lot of the stuff he talks about. I think the tarot is a lot deeper than people could understand, and Manly P. Hall had his tarot deck that he created, and if you look at it really carefully and you're symbol literate, I think that it's a lot more revealing to the true nature of reality than just like a simple kind of fortune telling game, and it's more the basis of all philosophy and all inner knowledge and stuff like that.
That's a really good point. I mean, you know, I was just looking at the Rider deck that Natalie put up on the screen, and she showed, I don't remember which card it was, but there were two pillars there, Boaz and Jacob.
That was the High Priestess.
The High Priestess card.
Yeah.
So you look at the different symbolism, and I mean, you find symbol after symbol after symbol. You were showing earlier, Natalie, the Seven of Cups with the cups up in the sky. And I noticed a lot of symbolism within the cups themselves. One has a snake, the other one has, I don't remember off the top of my head, but you can see even symbol upon symbol upon symbol upon symbol within each card itself. So is there anything that sticks out to you the most as having symbolism?
Me? Yeah.
Me, Jack.
Oh, JK. Yeah, the question was for JK. But I do want to get Natalie's take too.
Oh, you can take hers first.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what these cards are about is symbology. That's all I was going to say. And yeah, they started out as, a card game, but then they started working in all the images to them. And these actually are like sort of Golden Dawn produced, basically. So you can imagine all of the, hidden meanings in there. But it is supposed to be just, your subconscious, like Carl Jung wrote about them a lot. I haven't read any of the books, but
It's funny. I didn't know that the Golden Dawn produced the Rider deck. That's interesting.
Well, it was, it was A.E. Waite, right, that did it with Patricia Coleman Smith. Yeah, that's but he was in the Golden Dawn.
Oh, interesting.
And
Natalie,
it was right around like
you have a tarot book as well, don't you?
yeah. So it's one that I'm publishing for somebody else, and it's called Cardomaniacal Madness, Mischief, and Mayhem from the Maggots of the Marsh, and it's 333 example readings. So it's really interesting because you see in all of these example readings, and actually, Chris, you might have seen a little bit of the book when I had you shrink it for me one time.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see. It's kind of brain training, and it helps you make your own keywords. So if you go and look up any of these tarot cards, there are 3 or 4 keywords for the upright and reverse meaning, and that's what everybody goes by. With this book, it's more about finding your own keywords and your own meaning. So it's really good, and it's going to be out in about 2 weeks. So I'm telling everybody, if they go to my website at laughingcatpublishing.com and enter to win, I'm going to be giving away a free copy. I said signed with my boobs and sealed with a fart, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that's on request or not. So.
Signed with the boobs, I'll take. Sealed with the fart, maybe not.
I was thinking I could stamp them into some stamp ink and then just stamp them onto the book. They're too big, but I have to do the full.
What was that website? Laughing Cat Publishing.
Laughing Cat Publishing, yeah.
Laughing.
Yep.
LCP.
So we're doing Yes, I wish I just said LCP.com. My God.
Or LC Publishing.
Yeah,
you should
that
consider getting
good.
that. Yeah, we shrunk TFR. It used to be Truth Frequency Radio, and people were like, "I'm on a mobile device. This sucks. I hate typing this in." I'm like, "All right, TFRlive.com."
Right. Some old lady told me that the other day. I was like, "Man, you are on top of it, aren't you?"
Anything else on your mind, JK?
Well, I'm actually trying to create a tarot deck myself, and I'd like to get into it, but I don't know if I should reveal a lot of the stuff I figured out about it. But it's I've really figured out a lot about the true nature of reality.
Don't give everything away, but give us a little maybe one little detail or something.
Okay. Well, the ordinary deck of playing cards, has hearts and diamonds and clubs and spades. Well, like the Jewish Star of David, like Jesus, I heard on I think it was even one of your radio shows that like Jesus sits on the right hand of God. Well, who sits on the left hand of God? And it's like Jachin and Boaz, the feminine energy and the masculine energy. Well, all feminine energy is below, because you can put a seed in the ground and Mother Earth makes the seed sprout up. And the sun energy, or light photonic energy, is up above us and shines down. Well, that's why the Star of David is like a black star pointing down and a white star pointing up. But there's two sides to the masculine and feminine, the masculine and feminine. And there's 4 tarot in the ordinary playing cards. There's the hearts and diamonds and clubs and spades. And what 2 do you think are the masculine, and what 2 do you think are the feminine?
I would say the clubs are definitely the feminine, because the men are always getting clubbed over the head by the women. So,
Aries is masculine.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, Aries is masculine. Fire is masculine. Water is feminine, and then I believe that would be Earth would be masculine, and air would be feminine, or maybe switched. But sure, he knows.
Well, the playing cards are like the layman's tarot deck, the 52 cards in the playing deck. And the cards, the masculine cards, are the black cards, and the feminine cards are the red cards.
That's right.
Oh, and interesting.
The hearts and the
and
diamonds.
The red cards, the diamond, what is the diamond shaped like? What is the club shaped like? A club, what is a club? A club is a tool you can use to bash someone over the head or take what you need, and look at it very carefully. What does it look like? And look at the diamond. What is a diamond? A diamond is an object that is lustful. It's a lustful object that people lust after. And what is a diamond shaped like? And a heart, what is a heart? And what is a spade? A spade is a tool. You dig in the ground and you plant your seed. And a heart is like caring and nurturing. And so the heart and the spade are the higher aspects of man and woman. And when you put them both together, it makes like the Star of David. And then the lower aspects are the club, which looks like the phallic, and then the diamond that looks like the female.
Wow.
And it stands for lust and lust after power. And whereas the heart is shaped like breasts on the top of it. That's what it is. It's, the nurturing, the, motherly feminine. And then the diamonds would be like the lusty feminine that just kind of uses her body to, get what she wants.
You got it, Cherie. That's 100% correct.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never would. I got to hand it to you, JK. I never would have thought about it from that perspective. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Can is this show going to be like available, like recorded, so it'll be on record or something?
Oh yeah, it'll be on our YouTube channel and maybe on TFR as well. So yeah.
Do you want a tarot reading?
No, I actually believe that the tarot cards should be in order, because I think if you look at them in order, like the Thoth deck and the Rider Waite, I actually believe in the flat Earth. I have flat Earth websites that are unoperable, but I think that the highest levels of Freemasonry, the highest thing you learn is they teach you the true nature of reality, and I think they show it to you through the tarot deck. But anyway, I was going to say that also our language. I've heard all these different people on your show and different shows. They'll say, "Do you know what Freemasonry is about?" And they'll say, "I think I have an idea of what it is about." And every person says that. What is it? I don't understand that. And our alphabet, the way the tarot card is the masculine energy pointing up and the masculine energy pointing down and the feminine up and the feminine down. Well, a up, think of what is an up. An up is a U. What is the U shape like? Like a cup is the same thing as a U. And a P is a P pointing down. And the letter it, an I, is a phallic pointing up, which is releasing energy up in the sky. And a T is a phallic pointing down. So our whole alphabet is sexual hieroglyphics. That's what it is, 100%.
Wow.
That is interesting.
That is very interesting. And then the big thing right now is IT, information technology. And I wonder if there's a magic spell being cast just with that energy in and of itself. But that's kind of a side thought. But go ahead, JK.
Yeah, Jake. I'm also a musician, Chris. I'm a guitar player, but
Nice.
That was awesome.
Don't make me pull mine out too, because I've got mine right in the closet back there, and we can just jam out for the next hour.
we should do that. But it's very deep. I would like to explain the entire alphabet and everything and all of the words. And I think that the deepest TV show ever created in the history of anything is the TV show Lost. And like, I really believe that Lost is explaining a lot. But my
well, you know, the word? Let me ask you: is it Jake or JK?
Jake.
Yeah. Okay. My apologies. Your connection's breaking up a little bit. I don't mean to cut you short, but both ladies have to take off. But what I'd like you to do is call in on another show when we're doing open lines, which should be in the very near future. And we'll give you as much time as you need, because I'm really, really interested in this. You've blown my mind with a little bit of information that you've shared, and I would definitely love to hear more. Can we get you to do that?
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Chris, I'm a huge fan. So
thank you. And I'm a huge fan of yours now too. I mean, like I said, you're blowing my mind. So I love it, man. I appreciate it. We're going to let you go so we can get to this last call so we can let the ladies go. But
cool.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks again, Chris. And Sheree, and you too. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Wow. That was mind blowing.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know about all of this.
I didn't know that either.
Our alphabet is hieroglyphs. I mean, you know, I look at the A, and the A it looks like the triangle with the I. I mean, very clearly, but without the bottom of it.
That is interesting.
Yeah, the Phoenicians.
The bottom's there is just a little bit higher. I wonder if that.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Huh. They're closing you off, but they're letting you know, hey, there's so much more structure left here, but you're locked up in this little bitty area right here. The alpha.
Now we gotta
go further.
The alphabet.
I am the alpha and omega. I wonder if there's a correlation there.
That is interesting.
Interesting. So let's go to Austin, Texas. Area code 512. What's your name and what's on your mind?
Hey guys, this is Econo Man.
Econo Man, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Hey, good. I wanted to call in. I wasn't gonna call in, but I was like, no way. This is like maybe like my chance to call in and have. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Do the tarot? What was your name?
Natalie.
Natalie, hi.
Natalie, hey.
Hey.
I was wondering if it would be possible to do a reading.
Absolutely. What do you want a reading about?
So, I guess what the heck is going on with my entrepreneurial endeavors?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you need like a back? I don't know if you need a backstory, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I just was waiting to see if you had anything else you wanted to add, but I definitely don't need it. I don't even have to be asked sometimes. I'll just, just start pulling and it'll be what they wanted to know about. Sometimes people will ask about one thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
A reading on something completely different. You get what the AI gives you. Okay. So you have some pretty negative cards as far as your entrepreneurial stuff goes. I'm not gonna lie. So the first one is this dude. So it's basically just, you have that entrepreneurial spirit in you, that wands energy, the dick sticks, but you're like really having to fight for it. And then we have this card reversed, and this is the 3 of Wands, so more fire, which is also good for entrepreneurship, but It's reversed, and it's basically saying that it's just going to take a little bit longer, whatever you're working on. You're going to venture out into something that's a big deal, but it's going to take a little bit longer. And then you have the dreaded Ten of Swords. Everybody hates this one.
10 of Swords?
Yeah, so I'm guessing that you've been stabbed in the back a bunch, like probably had a lot of failed attempts maybe, or a lot of things go wrong, or people screwing you over. I think it's just going to take a lot, that you do have that in you, but you're going to have to get over all these swords in your back. You have to heal from them. You can't just lay there and, just say, it's okay, I'm fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, that's
and
really
just remember that it's going to take a little bit longer. So don't worry about that too much. And I don't know. Do you want to know which direction you should go on something, or were you just wondering about it in general?
Sure. I mean, if we can go down that way.
I mean, is
cool.
there something that you have a choice between? I'm just trying to pull any more information out of this for you.
That'd be great.
But this is if what I asked in the cards was for what is going on with your current situation, and so I was just wondering if there was any more that you wanted to share on that, to see if we can pull any more info out.
Totally. So I see a pattern. I would get these big contracts. Like when I started out, I got my real estate license last year. My first house that I got on contract to list on the market, it's like this $1 million house here in far north Dallas. And then the lady got kind of crazy. She's like in her 70s, but she seems pretty sharp when I met her. She decided that it's not worth $1 million, it's worth $3 million, and she wants to take it off the market. I was like, wow. So then I got with these developers, and I think I mentioned this before, but we did like a small deal. It was like a $500,000 lot of land. And so that was pretty cool. Then the next one, we did 3 contracts, put the earnest money deposits down. It was like $75,000 in total. 4 pieces of land, like tons of acreage. The commission was going to be like $350,000. And then these guys, they just like totally kept taking advantage of me and basically like stabbed me in the back in the end. And like, I was the last one standing in the core team. Everyone left. And I just kept wanting to make it work. And then finally, I was kicked out. I was like, wow. And that happened last month.
And that's your Ten of Swords. Okay, well,
yeah.
So I flipped the shadow card for you too, which is the card at the bottom of the deck. And it is the 2 of Wands. And, you've got all wands. I think that you're doing right for yourself, what you're doing. It's just going to take more planning, because this is a planning card. And you had your 3 of Wands reversed. So I'd say that if you want to turn your situation around, you're just going to have to do some more planning and realize that it's going to take some time. Does that help?
Yeah, totally. Because I've been doing some introspection. Like, there's gotta be some. Like, very recently, I discovered 2 things about myself. One is that because of my previous programming in the literal interpretation of the Bible and these Christian churches, I programmed myself that I have to struggle, and life is always a struggle. And if I'm not struggling terribly, then something's actually not going right, like I'm supposed to be, right? So I figured that.
Same.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous. So that I became aware of. And then recently, like yesterday, I became aware of another programming that I kind of grew into, which is like people generally just suck and I hate everyone, right? People just suck, right? So that's kind of this program that I grew into, and I realized it, and going through these other like guided meditations with some people, that was brought out because one of the things we were focusing on was loving ourselves. And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. And then as I kept meditating in that kind of space, I realized, oh, I actually don't love people. I do, certain people that I bring in and vet like pretty heavily, but then like everyone else is just like, I don't want to deal with you and I don't care. And so I was like, wow, I have to deal with these inner programs that I just fell into and grew into. It's crazy.
You know what, though, if I can jump in for a second, they're not programs. People do suck. So just putting that out there.
That's so interesting, though, because I've been going through the exact same thing with the problem with the Christian programming and not loving yourself, and people would be like, I'd tell my friends in my group, like, these problems I have. And by the way, if you're a weirdo and you're into tarot, you need to join the group Tarot Mood on Facebook. It's full of weirdos.
What is it?
So it's called Tarot Mood.
Okay. Cool.
So
by the way,
yeah, we'd love to have you there. But yeah, no, that's okay. The same thing happened. Like people would always say, you just need to love yourself. And I'm like, first that made me mad. I'm like, why do you guys keep saying this? Like, I think I love myself just fine. Like, stop. That's like the be end all or answer for everything. Stop it, But then, and then also when I would try to do like loving myself exercises, I felt like my soul was like hissing. I didn't want to do it.
Wow.
Like this. I mean, that's how programmed I was to this, and I just realized it was programming too. So I thought that was really interesting that you brought all that up. So thank you.
Thank you. By the way, was it Nicole?
Natalie,
sorry.
No, that's fine.
I have my notes out here. I'll write this down. What was the first card?
Oh, the first card was the 7 of Wands.
Okay.
And then you have the 3 of Wands reversed and the 10 of Swords. And then you have the 2 of Wands on your shadow card.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Natalie. And
you're welcome.
Thank you, Chris and Cherie for putting your hangouts on. It's really great to see you guys. Surprisingly, just not on. Wait, what day is it? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, usually it's Thursdays, right?
Yeah. We moved it to Thursdays, but we're just kind of whenever we feel like it nowadays. And it's only because we have such an awesome BTV family around us that anytime we feel like we want to connect, we just connect. So yeah, thanks for calling in, brother.
Thank you. I'll see you guys.
All right. Love
Bye.
You. I love that guy. He's called in many times, and he's always pretty stoned when he does. And he doesn't have anything to say. Now Natalie's on, and all of a sudden he's on point. He's got notes, all that stuff. I'm like, wow, what are we, chopped liver?
Because the dominatrix of tarot is
I think he's not allowed to get. I think he's only allowed to get high on weekends. Honestly, maybe he has to work early tomorrow.
I'd buy a house from that guy. Probably like a $50,000 house, though.
Yep. So it has been an awesome show, great energy, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the energy. Anything for Mrs. Gio?
Oh, we love you guys, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been one of the funnest shows we've done in a long time. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, especially you, Natalie.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I feel like, it was a rocky start, and I'm probably still doing really poorly, but I'm having so much fun.
Oh, no, you did great. You did better with tarot than I usually do on the spot on the show. So that's
cool.
Big props to you. You've done an amazing job tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So give people the websites and all that good stuff.
Okay, so laughingcatpublishing.com for the contest to win the book, which is Cartomaniacal by Morton Jewel Augerfeld. And then I have Facebook and Instagram is Polaris Tarot. I think that's it. Oh, my children's books. Please go look up my name on Amazon. It's Natalie Meraki, Meraki. And I have children's books and dot grid journals. So
awesome. Twin Flame Divine Fire is in the chat room too. They do a show on TFR on Sundays, if I remember correctly. I think around. I don't quote me on that. You can go to tfrlive.com. Natalie will be joining us at TFR as well, and we're trying to find a good spot to fit her into. Yes, and Twin Flame said, "How are you angels doing?" And I said, "Staying fallen." As always.
Yes.
As always.
We're snorting all those coke clouds.
Yep. So, anything you want to leave the audience with?
Not me.
Not you.
No, not non-fuck stay.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock Pacific time. This time it is a scheduled show. Sonia Barrett will be joining us, and we've started to book guests every Thursday at 8 o'clock. So you're going to get a special surprise every Thursday, 8 o'clock Pacific. But I think we might be going out of town for a couple of weeks in the middle of April. So, aside from those 2 weeks, we've got other, several things booked. So you'll have to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification button. You know what I noticed, Sheree, is I have two other accounts. The TFR account and then my personal Chris Geo account. Mm-hmm. And the Chris Geo account was unsubscribed from BTV automatically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I wasn't getting notifications because I have those two accounts so I can see how it works. Because YouTube has like these different algorithms. So if you've liked a video that says like ayahuasca, then you'll be notified if another video that says ayahuasca is it comes up. So it's kind of hit or miss as far as the notifications goes. But I was automatically unsubscribed.
I show as subscribed, but I never, ever, ever, ever get a notification.
You have to hit the bell button.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the way YouTube is, and I wrote them because I look at our subscriber rate and I'm like, we're rising. We just hit 40,000 subscribers just a couple days ago, but I see the ratio is like
it's way off.
25% lost for every 25 subscribers lost for every 100, and I'm like,
that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense, no. And I think people are automatically being unsubscribed. I brought it to YouTube's attention. They said we would never do that.
Oh no,
no, our system works fine, and I'm like, your system works so fine that all of our videos have been in sync and all that stuff. Yeah, like anyways, it is what it is. So we need to put together.
I want to thank everybody in the group really fast too. I forgot. I just wanted to thank everybody for the support because everybody's always so nice to me, and I'm so crazy. So.
We love your craziness.
I was gonna rename it on April 1st as Natalie's Playpen or something like that. But then I realized you can only change it once every 30 days. So I was like, damn,
that would have been awesome.
We really appreciate everything you do on the group, Natalie.
We do.
Thank you. I love it. I love the group.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. Kiss the one you love right now because you never know when the last time is going to be. And we'll see you even further
beyond the veil.